Good evening, YouTube. So we're back again to do another stream. I'm Greg from Greg's Tutoring NYC, and we're doing a series pertaining to the new SHSAT, in particular it's the digital SHSAT, and in particular one dealing with 2025. So there's going to be kind of two flavors of the digital SHSAT. The first is going to be basically moving from the paper-based exam to just a digital exam. And then after that, that's going to happen this year. And then after that, probably 2026. There's word that the test is going to go adaptive. The DOE is still trying to get a definition of that out to the public. So we're not going to focus on that at the moment. And what we did is we had some general conversations. This is part 5 already of what the digital SAT means or not. So go to the link at the bottom there, GregsTutoringNYC.com/digital-SHSAT-facts. And it'll have the notes I use and also references to the video. Now, the last video I did was speculative, and this one is as well. I'm surmising what the digital exam is going to look like, okay? And I'm making the statement that the SHSAT all along has been a thinking exam, and I think there's an opportunity here for the exam to give more credence to that as we're moving forward on things like that, okay? So that's kind of where we're going to. So again, if you want an overview of what the digital SHSAT is about, where it came from, what's happening, look at part 1, 2, and 3, okay? And then the part 4 was I explored what some of the ELA digital questions might look like, okay? So on that note, let me get rid of this kind of banner screen. And we're going to come back to where we were the last time, which is basically that what I'm telling you is surmising. I have not seen the digital platform, and I have not seen the questions or anything like that. Okay, so I'm just an expert on the SHSAT and also other exams, including other digital exams. So what I'm trying to do is give a flavor of where I think the SHSAT is going to go. Now I could be putting my foot in my mouth and get this completely wrong. Something tells me that's not the case, in that I'm going to get a lot of this right. So we kind of have a heads up going on here. So again, this is not official, and this is just, we're going to have a discussion about what may or may not be on the exam. All right. So, and if in the worst case, this ends up being some sort of historical document, or even the worst case, I delete the video. But I think it's worth talking about this. I'm talking to the DOE, I'm talking to families, I'm talking to students, I'm talking to other tutors, and it just seems to be a lot of confusion, a lot of speculation, and people even starting to make stuff up. All right, so that's not a good idea, and we need to just focus on these things and try to figure them out. So there we go. And my premise here is that the SHSAT already presents a paradigm shift from, say, for instance, taking the New York State exam. It looks the same. If you put them next to each other, oh yeah, this is the same exam. But everybody knows that's not true. So, and I think we have an opportunity here, and therefore I'm excited about this in a way with the digital exam. Yes, there's a lot of things we don't know, but at the same time, there's a lot of things we do know, and there's a lot of things we can do about it. All right, so what we're going to do is explore the new question types. The last time I did the ELA, so that's all these guys here. And what we're going to do is start by doing the math ones as well. So if you're going to notice, if you watch my last video, that a lot of the initial categories I'm going to show you are some of these same new categories. All right, so just to give the example with the reading, we went from multiple choice, which is your standard A, B, C, D. And you might say, okay, that's just cut and pasting a digital exam, a paper-based exam, into the screen. All right, but then we have other things here with multiple choice, fill in the blank, inline drop downs, all that kind of stuff like that. And by the way, I realized that the drop down doesn't seem to appear on the video. So I may have to narrate that when it happens, or find out how not to do that, how not to get that to work. Okay, so let's scroll down to the math part. and start talking about some of the analogous stuff that the math can and will have. I'm saying will as if I know. So that's kind of wishful thinking that the math can have. And so the first one is just our standard stuff, right? Which of the following has a factor of 11? So basically, you're going to take each number, divide it by 11, and click to choice. So let's say I'm not putting right answers for these. So let's say it was B, right? Now we also have the multiple response here, right? Which of the following has a factor of 11? So then it says, now it says click all that apply. So just like when I talked about the ELA, that means there can be more than one answer. All right? They're not telling you how many. It just says click all that applies. So it might be one applies or all of them are the answer, right? So this is a different way of approaching the exam. And it's going to matter. All right? You just can't be using previous strategies and techniques completely here. So it's opening up new areas of thinking and new ways of approaching the exam. So that's something we need to worry about and be concerned about and deal with when we're solving these questions. It also has a level where it might make the exam harder, all right? Because when we have a choice like the first question about the factors of 11, we know there's only one answer. And there's no non-answer, right? On the SHSAT, there's an answer, right? So this says click or apply. So there's an implication with this that there may not even be an answer. So this needs to be part of the directions to spell that out. So it could be none of them the answer or two of the answers, right? So that's the kind of thing there. So if you will, we could click B and we could click C. Again, I'm not clicking on the right answers here. You guys can figure this out on your own. And if you want to, some of these questions you can figure out the answer and email me or post it on the comments after the video goes live, or put it in the chat. Well, I'm not going to answer those in the chat because we're exploring the design of the test and what it means to have that, right? So again, my speculation here on picking these kind of questions is to kind of exemplify what will probably end up being the case. All right. So we have multiple responses. We also have fill in the blank. So again, that's interesting because we already had grid-ins, right? Now this has 3 things here. All right. So it's getting you to think here. And it's kind of a double question here, right? The SAT, I mentioned on the ELA section, it doesn't really piggyback questions, but it piggybacks concepts. So there's the notion of a double formula, like you might have to get the circumference of a circle and then use that radius to get the circumference of another circle, right? So it's pretty infamous for doing that in a lot of different areas, not just on the area of a circle. So you might have to get the volume of a cube and use that to get the endpoint, the circular endpoint of a cylinder, right? Based on the same volume, where you take water in an aquarium, let's say, pour it into a cylinder, and some height of the water is there, and you have to figure all these kind of different things out. So we have other opportunities here. So we have like a multi-part one here now, right? X is the smallest multiple of 11 that is greater than 1,000. So basically, you're going to be doing something like dividing 1,000 by 11, figuring out what that integer is, right? And then multiplying it back out till it's less than that, right? So if you divide 1,000 by 11 and you get like 9.9, then the answer has to be 9, right? So that would be what you'll put in here and say 9, right? And again, I'm not giving the right numbers here. And then it says the other factors of X has factors what and what, right? So this asks for the smallest multiple, right? But that means 9 times something had to be some of those other factors and so on. So there's this double ricochet effect or whatever. And again, this is a little more open. This could have been done on the paper-based exam. Everything shown so far could have been. It just never was. But the digital exam kind of pushes the issue that that's something that needs to be done or whatever. Hello, Hibernite. So that's kind of where things need to go with this, all right? And you guys can ask questions as I'm going along with this. I will at the end basically have an Ask Me Anything question and answer period about the digital exam, and maybe other things as well. All right, so okay, and then this one, this is where we kind of get now, it's kind of brand new, if you will, right? So it says fill in the value represented by the empty box in the below equation. So the empty box is here. I'll put XYZ into there for now, or CYZ. That's what they want you to answer. So traditionally, this was kind of awkward in the on the paper-based exam. And this is taken from a SHSAT handbook. All right, so this is a classic question, and you need to get the answer there. So let's see, this becomes 4y. So the answer turns out to be 3y here. So if you notice, we're doing a grid in with non-digits, right? So 3y is there, and if we kind of go the full mile on some of this, that's should be allowed a few things. Now, it might say something like in simplest form, something like that, okay? So that means if we're talking about 3, wait, where I got, hold on. If we did something like 3, wait, it's not letting right here, there we go. Okay, 3y, we could even parenthesize the y, right? So there's things that are going on like that. All right. Hold on a second. Just want to make sure the stream is live here. Yeah. And just give a thumbs up if anybody's out there in the lobby. If the audio and everything goes all right. And of course, like and subscribe to this video, right? Okay, just want to make sure we're caught up here because I don't want to talk for an hour to find out that the video was not successful. All right, so anyway, there's certain things we can type in here. We can even do y times 3, right? Because that's still equal to 3y. So there might be some instructions trying to set up that's kind of where they're looking for. Oh, I tried to draw on the screen and I see that's not actually working. So, all right, so it looks like I can't draw on the screen. Or at least it's not going to copy it. All right, the same thing down here. How many integers satisfy the condition 5 is less than the square root of n is less than 6? This is a tricky standard question, but instead it's gonna be a grid and they're letting you put the answer in there. All right, so these are just fill in the blank. It's not this weird multi-complex thing, right? Because that's a lot of the discussion is, oh my God, it's going to be so hard to use. Da, 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 da. No, these are trivial things that are going on there. These are standard operations that can be done on a computer or a tablet or even a phone. All right, and then write your answer in the box. This same kind of thing here. So I just gave a bunch of just different examples. Again, you can solve them on your own. You would write all the answers into there, okay? And there's tools to do different stuff, okay? This is just more of the same. All right, this one, it's instead of kind of giving the answers, you're going to be filling in stuff here. So you might put like 6, and this is a fraction. I didn't do that too well. There's a line between the 2 of those, but this might be 6 over 7. All right, so you guys should be able to see that. I just want to make sure this is coming through on your end. So I'm writing 5 as the whole number part and 6 over 7 as the fraction part. Just let me see here. Yeah, I believe that's working. It seems to be coming through on my side. Okay, same thing here. Rectangle office floor is 3.6 repeating yards long and 3.3 repeating yards wide. Put your answer in here. All right, so here is the drop downs. And again, I don't know that the drop downs showed. So they only seem to show when I get the answer. So we have choices here. It says every parallelogram has side lengths equal, opposite sides parallel, diagonal lengths equal, and 4 lines of symmetry. I'm not sure that those will show to you guys. Okay. And then, so I'll just click side lengths equal, which we know is false. Only squares have that, right? And then this part over here says all angles 90 degrees. That's only true of squares and rectangles. Complementary angles, right? Wait, what does complementary mean, right? You guys need to know the terminology for that. Opposite angles equal. That one is the correct one. And all interior angles add up to 180, right? Is that true? Is both of these true? No, both of those are false, right? So that's not true for a parallelogram. So these are the, I just want to see if this drops down. No, it's just showing choose option for me here. Because I believe the drop down's not showing. I just narrated it, but I just want to make sure that it's actually showing up or not. No, it just popped in by itself. Okay, so that's an interesting thing. I have to figure out why that happens. Same thing here. A company needs to paint the side of an upright cylindrical water tank. Select the correct words and phrases from the drop-down menus. So I have first determine the volume, area, circumference, or height. So let me just put circumference there. And of the base, because this basis of a cylinder is a circle, right? And then multiply that by the height, add that to the height, multiply that by the circumference, or add that to the circumference. Multiply that by the area, and add that to the area. So I just put add that to the area is the choice there. All right, so there's this duality. Now, we had that a lot in revising editing A in particular, and we didn't have this kind of duality drop down, if you will, on the paper-based exams in the math at all. So now I think we can. I think it's reasonable to be able to ask two things that complement each other on the exam in the math section. All right, so that is that. And I talked about these on the ELA section. These are kind of all obvious, right? So, okay, there's the table grid. I showed that on the ELA side. So the table contains possible square rectangle facts. So all squares are rectangles. Yes. All rectangles are square. No. All squares and rectangles are quadrilaterals. Do you know what a quadrilateral is? So let's say true. All squares and rectangles are quadrangles. Ouch. Do you guys know what a quadrangle is? You're supposed to. All right. So there's that. So these are again, some of this could have been tested on the paper-based exam, but kind of look what they have here. There's a whole bunch of stuff just pounded out right here. It's all in a one table, and it's not really that complicated to click and stuff on. Now, if you don't know your square and rectangle and quadrilateral facts, you may spend a lot of time on this, but the computer aspect of the digitalizing of it is not going to be the burden here. And if you just made a mistake, you unclick false and you click true. All right. And you could go back and get rid of these. I mentioned this the last time. Well, this can kind of be a placeholder. You can click the thing itself, right? Say I click false there without clicking the tick box. So you can kind of figure it out first and then go back and click all the boxes correctly. And that's kind of the beauty of this as well. It's all laid out in front of you. You don't need to transfer stuff and back from a bubble sheet. Look out, it's right there. The whole question's right there. Bam. You just do it or you don't do it. Okay, so we talked about hotspots the last time. This minus 0.3 bars squared is greater than x. All right, so if you don't know how to do 3 bars squared, and you don't know how to do minus 0.03 bars squared, then you don't know what's going to be the answer. All right, and it has to be greater than x. It doesn't say equal to x, right? And answers like this minus 0.09 bar and this minus 0.1 bar could be trap answers and so on. But if you notice, it says select the value of x, which makes this inequality true. When you click your selection, the box will highlight in yellow. All right, you can deselect by just clicking them again. All right, so the implication here is there's only one answer, but this could be one where there's multiple answers, right? Which I think is what I did on the next exam. Click the number which is the greatest. No, that's just one. So these can get tricky. We have minus 49 So we have a fraction that's negative, because the top is negative. We have a fraction with a negative in front of the whole thing, and we have a -1 here. So everybody negatives can get us kind of messed up. So -49 is actually the least one there. All right. So what we want to do is -1 versus -1, and we get that. And then we have to compare, well, is -1/7 larger than -1? Yeah, it actually is. So we're going to get rid of that. And then we have to compare it to the -1/49. Right, guys? So again, and the beauty of this is you can kind of click the answer and then compare it to the next thing. Or if you want to do scrap work and figure it out that way. But in the meantime, you clicked your answer so far. So I kind of like that capability if this is indeed how the exam works. All right. So again, if you guys have questions, you can contact me at GregsTutoringNYC@gmail.com, right? And figure some of that stuff out that way. All right. So these are the ones that match the the um, the ELA comparisons. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video, and in a couple of minutes I'm going to do a part 6. Are we up to 6? Yeah, I think so. Which has some more involved examples, which actually you're going to be dragging and dropping stuff and things like that. All right. So let me end this stream, and in about 10 minutes we're going to start another stream up. And let me just, before I do that, does anybody have any questions? No, nobody has any questions. All right, so we're gonna be back in 5 or 10 minutes. So it's 7:30 now. So by 7:45, we'll be back here with a bunch more questions. All right, so I'm gonna end. All right, peace out, guys. I'll be back soon.